Hello everybody, my name is Sammy and I am here with Digivangelism, a company that exists to help church leaders like you reach people with the love of Jesus online. That's what we do. And in fact, we put out a new video every single week, so I'm very used to being on camera with all of you. And yet, usually those videos are edited, they are well cut, sometimes I add text, all that good stuff. That's not going to be today's video, and I'm not used to that. So this is a much more raw version of me than you usually get. Usually you get like exactly what I want you to see, but today I'm just going to be real with you, share some tips. I do have some notes in front of me, but these 7 posts that you need to be making online, they're just going to be coming at you raw and real right off the bat today. Before I get started with the 7 posts you need to be making, I want to just make a note that if you have no idea where you should be making these posts, it's a good thing to ask your people, ask your church members, ask your community where they spend their time online. That's your best bet at knowing what is the proper platform for you to be posting on. Now, if you just want to kind of dive in and you just want advice and you want us to tell you what to do, then I would say Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are 3 that you should really focus on. They are widely used. Statistics tell us that they're growing and growing. So focus there, but more importantly, ask your people where they're spending your time so that you aren't wasting your time posting on platforms where they're not. With that, let's get started. Our first post that your church needs to be making online. You've heard us say this one before. We thought we'd start with it because it's nothing really new. Ask a question. That is your post. Your post is you asking your people something. It could be, and it should be probably, something not necessary. I mean, like just something for fun. It could be a this or that, like cats or dogs, or maybe you ask them what is their favorite activity for whatever season that you're in currently. It's just an opportunity for people to kind of put their 2 cents in, and people love to do that. I mean, people like to talk about themselves, people love to share stories of their experiences, people like to interact with one another online, and these days, with COVID-19 still around, we are kind of isolated more than usual, and so those interactions, they blow up with engagement even more. And the reason you're posting posts like this is because you want to increase your church's engagement, and again, not just so you can be known as the cool church that gets a lot of comments or likes. That's not the goal, but the more engagement that any Facebook post or profile gets, the more reach they're going to have. And that's what we want to help you do here at Digi. We're trying to help you reach people with the love of Jesus online. Part of that is actually being able to effectively reach people. Again, this post should not be anything that causes a big stir. Don't get into the deepest, darkest, difficult conversations in this moment. No, just something light, something that is gonna get people talking and share a couple different opinions. You could post a picture, or you could just post the words. On Facebook, you can actually type the words and then make it into a picture. There's an easy way to do that. We show that in one of our videos. But really, you're just getting the question out there for them to answer. And you can also do this on Instagram, same thing, picture of the question. You could do it on your story on Facebook or Instagram. Probably wouldn't work so well on YouTube, but on a story, you can actually have a poll even. And I'm not going to go into all that, but if you can figure out how to make a poll, there's another good option for you to ask a question. Alright, next up, behind the scenes. So this is where you get real on video. And no, nothing like inappropriate or vulnerable beyond what is appropriate for your boundaries, but you want to get real and show your life a little bit behind the scenes as a church leader. So right now, if you are quarantined at home and you are doing your church things from home, perhaps it's showing off your space a little bit. It's showing kind of what you're doing in the day-to-day. If you're at church, you can show people the church. I'm sure they would love to see it. And this could be a live video if you're not too afraid, or just a recorded video and really walk around. I mean, it could be just a picture of your space and talking a little bit about what you're doing that day. The thing is, with these behind the scenes things, you could do that once a week, twice a week, and people aren't going to get bored of it because they want to see you, the church leaders of their church, their community. You are valuable to them, and they want to kind of know what you're up to all the time, which, of course, have good boundaries with that. But if you can share a little, it will certainly help you get engagement, reach, build community, build trust, because people are going to trust you more and more as they get to know you more. And again, this could be something churchy, but it doesn't have to be something churchy. It also could just be like, hey, today I'm off and I'm going to Starbucks, but don't tell them which Starbucks unless you're just quick in and out. You know what I mean? Like, you're just being a real person. Build that trust, build that connection. People will comment. If you're off that day, don't answer the comments till you're back on. But share a little behind the scenes, help people connect with you. Next up, bite-sized teaching moments. Emphasis on the bite-sized, because a lot of folks that are seminary educated, that are trained in religious studies, they want to share that information. Now, this is your opportunity to. That's exciting, I know. But let's keep it manageable. I'm talking like 2 or 3 minutes. If you need to go 4 or 5 every now and then whatever, do it if you have to. But try to keep it short. And this could be anything, especially related to your expertise. So if we're talking about a book of the Bible, share something that people might not know. People, especially your church folks, they're going to eat that up. They're going to love to learn from you, and you love to share it. So this is a win-win situation here. I definitely recommend a video for this one. Again, keep it brief. Use it as an opportunity to educate people, but try to make it in a way that is shareable. It doesn't have to be too targeted to your community. It can be, but if you make it shareable, your people can share it and impact even more people, which gets your church, gets your face, gets your community and the values that it lifts up even more exposure online, and maybe even shares the love of Jesus with someone online who did not know that that love was for them. And I want to also lift up that if you are a church that uses the seasons of the church year, this is a great opportunity to talk a little bit about that. What's with these seasons? Why does the altar cloth change? And what's with these candles for Advent and these colors for Lent? This is your opportunity to share some of that. Keep it brief, but share it. Again, don't consider this preaching time. This is not your sermon. We're going to get to that and how you can share that. All right. Number 4, thank a volunteer. Now, you likely have lots and lots of people working behind the scenes to make your online church services possible. Why not lift one of them up? Now, it doesn't have to be just them. You can lift up those folks that are still working in the background, doing other things that are necessary for a church. Maybe cleaning or doing something with the finances. Maybe pick one a week. Maybe pick one a month. Whatever you feel like you can sustain. And maybe it's not even you as a church leader that's picking these people and actually, interviewing them or writing up a little thank you about them. The less on your shoulders and the more you can delegate, the better. So wherever possible, try to do some of that. But use this as an opportunity to tell a little bit about that person with their permission. Ideally, you kind of give them a heads up, this is coming. Ask them if there's a photo you can use to spotlight them or take one. And just let people outside of your community get to know some of the people inside of your community a little bit more. This is great because it does continue to draw those connections. It helps people feel a little more part of it. A couple weeks go by and they start to get to know, Jim who does the cleaning and Sandra who does the counting. And then all of a sudden, these faces that are popping up on Zoom or in pictures or however you do worship these days, they aren't strangers. These people can start to draw connections. They know who they are. It makes it feel a little bit more like a close community, even if they haven't stepped foot into the community itself yet. Great way to make people feel welcome before they even arrive. Next up, repurposing sermon quotes. We're repurposing your sermons. We did a whole post and video. You'll have to check that out on our website or on our YouTube channel if you want more on this topic specifically, because there are so many ways to repurpose sermon quotes, sermon themes, taking that weekly message and just making a week's worth or a month's worth of content out of it. Because you do have to be somewhat regular if you want people to be engaging with your content online. If you're going to be posting on Facebook and Instagram, you really can't just post once a week and then it just be enough. People want to see that you are an active and engaging community even online. So that takes time and effort to think of all that content, right? It's not like you have the time to just sit around and think, okay, let's plan a content calendar. That's just not on your radar probably. So while there are many ways for you to repurpose your sermon content each week, the point is that you do it. Not that you're doing it right or doing it in 12 different ways. Just do it, okay? use the sermon that your pastor or you have already written and allow it to impact your social media throughout the week. This could be, reminding people about what the message was the previous Sunday. It could be giving people a heads up about what it's gonna be. It could be, quote posts. People love sharing quotes. It could be asking a question to engage the context, sharing the scripture that, is coming or already happened in the sermon. There are so many different ways to do this with all of the different platforms available online. Again, the point is that you do it. Another important point is that you make it shareable. You want these to be quotes. You want these to be aspects of the sermon. You want these to be tidbits that you do not have to hear the entire sermon to grasp that point. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to say something that no one who wasn't actually listening to the full sermon can actually understand. So I don't need to listen to the full thing to get it. I need to be able to get it just from seeing your post. And that's not too hard to do, but it does take some intention. Now, certainly you can share the whole sermon. You could post the sermon later that week or later that day, or maybe you do it live and then it's posted. But these tidbits, these pieces that you can take out from that sermon, that can give you a much wider impact. That means more posts, more days, more times, more touch points for people engaging the same message, which if you as a church leader are spending the time to craft or even just let the Spirit speak through you in that moment for that message, why not let it impact more people? Why not be more than just a 20-minute or 10-minute or 5-minute, whatever your sermon length is, moment in time, or maybe it's recorded and posted. Why not share it in many, many ways? So that's what we're trying to get you to do. Repurpose sermon content. Somehow we're at number 6 already. Number 6, share a throwback. These are just fun. These really are just fun. Throwback means like a picture or a video or maybe a memory or a story of something that happened in the past. Okay, so maybe it's dug up from your church archives and you're like, wow, look at this old picture of our church. Isn't that amazing? Does anybody know who's in this picture? We have no idea. Or maybe it's something that happened last year and you're like, wow, look at what we were doing last year this time before COVID hit. Or maybe, COVID was just starting and we were just trying to figure out what to do. Look how far we've come. Or look at how we've adapted to ministry in a new way. You can keep a lot of these pictures and videos on hand, and you could do one a week. Throwback Thursday is a thing, Flashback Friday, you could put the hashtags there. People, they're gonna really just love seeing these pictures, whether or not they were around. And if they were around, I'm sure they'll love putting their 2 cents in. And even if they weren't, perhaps they could ask questions about it. Say, what is happening in this photo? I wasn't even here yet. Tell me more. And it just gives more opportunity for engagement. The point is we're being church online. We say that a lot here at Digi. Be church online. It's not about just making posts and that's just the side thing you do. Like church is over here and ministry is here and then you make posts online to appease the internet people. No, the people are literally on the internet. How can you be church there? That's what we're trying to do here. Which brings us to number 7. And this is to remind people of your mission. And often. And ideally, as usual, this is with a video or a photo, or maybe you can even do a live video. It would be really neat if your mission kind of links to something that you're doing, like maybe you as a church leader or your church staff or even your church somehow getting involved in a safe way, COVID conscious way these days, living out your mission. So if your mission is to help feed people, are you actively doing that? And maybe you do a check-in video, just selfie it up and you're acknowledging that this is your mission being lived out. What is the purpose of your church? What is the why of your church? This is so important to remind everyone. I mean, it's important to remind yourself, certainly, because that just helps you remember there is a purpose to this. There's a why behind this church, this community that I'm leading. It's important for those inside your building to remember, again, that there is a purpose, there's a why in this community I'm a part of. We're not just here to hang out and feel good about ourselves and, feel good about God or whatever. No, we have a reason for being together. What is that reason and how can we direct our focus into that mission and fulfilling that mission with every day we're together? It's also helpful for people outside of your walls, outside of your Zoom meetings, outside of your community that have no idea what you as a church are all about. There are so many churches out there that just exist because they've always existed, so why not keep existing? But we always encourage you to have a mission, to have that conversation with your council, with your leadership, whoever makes those decisions, and ideally your whole church, so that you can all focus your energy, your faith in one direction. And when you are focused on that mission, that's going to be such a clear beacon for those outside of your community to see, wow, they have a purpose. They are existing with like certainty towards this mission, this cause that they want to happen, and I want to be a part of that. They're not just there because they love God, which is great. I love God too, but they are loving God in this way, and that is the way I want to live it out. Again, these mission posts can really only happen after some serious conversations with your church leadership and your church as a whole. So don't like dive into that with a fake mission or a mission that no one really believes in if it's not something that you've had those intentional conversations about and all gotten behind. So that was it. 7 posts you really need to be making. So if you have no idea what you're doing on the internet, start there. And if you do know what you are doing on the internet, make sure you are incorporating each of these type of posts, because that's how you're going to reach people online with the love of Jesus. And we at Digi believe that that is the biggest opportunity we have to share the love of Jesus yet. And it's something we don't want you to miss out on. So again, if this video was helpful for you, we do have a YouTube channel that we post new videos to every single week. We are active on pretty much every social media platform: TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, probably something I'm missing. So follow along, embrace digital ministry anew, and know that when you do, you're not just doing something else in your job. You're truly reaching people where they statistically spend more and more time each and every year, each and every day. You're spreading the love of Jesus to everyone, everywhere. And that is a why that we can get behind. Thanks for watching. Peace.